Welcome back. Take a close look at the quarters in your pocket, because one of them could be worth far more than you think. The Washington quarter may seem like everyday change, but some of these coins hide rare details, valuable errors, and surprising history that collectors are willing to pay big money for. In today's video, we're diving into these incredible quarters to see what makes them special and how to spot the ones that stand out. So make sure you watch until the end, because the next valuable coin might already be in your hands. First up, the 1968 Washington quarter dollar without a mint mark, a coin that may look old, dirty, and heavily worn, but still carries a powerful story from the past. You might find one like this sitting in a drawer, mixed with loose change, or hidden in an old box of coins. At first glance, it may not seem important, but this small piece of metal has traveled through time and history, and for some collectors, that makes all the difference. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington, the first president of the United States. By 1968, this design had already been in use for many years and was a normal part of everyday life. But something important had changed just a few years earlier. In 1965, the United States stopped using silver in regular quarters and switched to a copper-nickel blend. So the 1968 quarter is part of that new era, where coins were made differently but still carried the same classic design. Because this coin has no mint mark, it was made at the Philadelphia Mint. At that time, coins from Philadelphia often did not carry a mint mark, which can sometimes confuse new collectors. Even though many coins were made there, the absence of a mint mark still plays a role in identifying where the coin came from, and collectors always pay attention to that detail. Now take a close look at the front of the coin. You will see the portrait of George Washington facing left. On this coin, the condition is described as bad and dirty, which means it has seen a lot of use. The high points, like the hair, cheek, and jawline, are very smooth from years of handling. Some details may almost look flat. The word liberty, the date 1968, and the phrase "In God We Trust" are still there, but they may appear faded or weak. On the back, the eagle design is still visible, but it has also lost much of its fine detail. The feathers are worn down, and the lines are not as sharp as they once were. Still, you can clearly see the shape of the eagle and read the words United States of America and quarter dollar. Even in poor condition, these main features help confirm the coin's identity. The surface of the coin shows many scratches, marks, and dark areas. This dirty look often comes from years of handling, dirt buildup, and natural aging. The color may look uneven or dull, which is normal for a coin that has been in circulation for a long time. While it may not look attractive, this kind of wear tells the story of how the coin was used in everyday life. Even in this condition, collectors still look at what remains. If the main design and lettering can still be seen, the coin still has some level of interest. Some collectors even enjoy coins with heavy wear because they show history and character. Now here is where things can become more exciting. Some 1968 quarters have been found with minting errors. These can include doubling in the letters or numbers, where the design looks slightly repeated. Some coins were struck off-center, which means the design is not properly aligned. Others may show die cracks, which appear as thin raised lines on the surface. These errors are not always easy to see, especially on a worn coin, but they can still be present. If a coin has one of these features, it can become much more valuable and interesting to collectors. Because this coin is from Philadelphia and has no mint mark, it is part of a large group of coins, but collectors still compare them carefully. Small differences in design, condition, and errors can make a big impact. Now let's talk about value, because this is what surprises many people. A heavily worn 1968 quarter like this is usually worth only its face value in everyday use. However, coins in better condition, especially those that are uncirculated and still show strong detail, can be worth much more. Rare examples with clear minting errors have reached values of over $77,500, and in very unusual cases where multiple strong errors appear together, collectors have paid even higher amounts. If you think you may have a coin worth more than face value, it is important to handle it carefully. Do not clean it, because cleaning can damage the surface and reduce its value. Keep it safe and consider showing it to a coin expert or sending it for grading. When it comes time to sell, you can use coin dealers, auctions, or online platforms where collectors are always searching. Clear photos and honest descriptions can help you get the best results. What makes this coin special is not just the chance of value, but the journey it has taken. It has been used in daily life, passed from one person to another, and quietly held its place in history. So the next time you see a 1968 Washington quarter without a mint mark, even in bad and dirty condition, take a moment to look closer. It may not shine, and it may not look perfect, but it still carries a story. And sometimes, hidden within that worn surface, there may be more value than you ever expected. Next up, we take a closer look at a coin that many people have seen but almost no one really studies, the 1972 Washington quarter dollar, found today in heavily circulated and rough condition. At first glance, this coin may not look impressive at all. It might appear dull, scratched, and worn down from years of use. The surface could look dirty, with uneven color and small marks all over. Most people would probably spend it without a second thought. But when you slow down and really look at it, this coin tells a deeper story. This quarter comes from a time when coins were made for heavy daily use. By 1972, the United States Mint was producing millions of quarters to keep up with demand. These coins were not made with silver anymore. Instead, they were struck using a copper nickel-clad composition, which made them stronger for circulation but less valuable in metal content. That means the real value of this coin today comes from rarity, condition, and possible errors, not the metal itself. On the front of the coin, you will see the familiar face of George Washington. Even in heavily worn condition, his outline is usually still visible. However, on your coin, the details like his hair, cheek, and jawline are likely very smooth. Years of handling have slowly worn down those high points, making the design look flat. The word liberty at the top and the phrase "In God We Trust" may still be readable, but they can appear faint or thin due to wear. The date 1972 is still one of the most important parts, even if it looks slightly faded. Flip the coin over, and you will find the classic eagle design on the reverse. The eagle is shown with wings spread wide, holding arrows and an olive branch. On a heavily circulated coin like this, the eagle's feathers often lose their sharp detail. The lines become soft, and some parts may look almost blended together. Around the edge, United States of America and quarter dollar are usually still visible, though they may show signs of wear. Now let's talk about the condition in a simple way. This coin is heavily circulated, which means it has been used in everyday transactions for a long time. The surface shows many scratches, small dents, and nicks from contact with other coins. There may be dark spots, dirt buildup, or uneven coloring, which is called toning. In some areas, the coin may look darker or even slightly blackened. The original shine that the coin had when it was first made is completely gone. Instead, it has a dull, tired look. Even though this condition sounds bad, it does not mean the coin is worthless. In fact, many valuable coins have been found in worn condition. What matters most is not just how the coin looks, but whether it has something unusual about it. One important thing to understand is the mint mark. Some 1972 quarters have no mint mark, which means they were made in Philadelphia. Others have a small D for Denver or S for San Francisco. The mint mark can affect value, especially when combined with rare errors or special varieties. Even without a mint mark, a coin can still be important if it has unique features. Collectors often search 1972 quarters for errors. These can include double die errors, where parts of the design look slightly doubled, especially in the lettering. There can also be off-center strikes, where the design is not properly aligned. Some coins may have die cracks or unusual marks caused during the minting process. These small details can turn an ordinary coin into something much more valuable. Another thing collectors look for is strong strike quality. Even though your coin is worn, sometimes traces of a sharp original strike can still be seen in protected areas. This can make a difference when experts evaluate the coin. Now here is the exciting part. Most heavily circulated 1972 quarters are only worth their face value. But rare error coins or special high-demand varieties can reach much higher prices. In some cases, collectors have paid between $76,000 and $94,500 for exceptional examples that show clear and rare minting errors. These are not common, but they do exist, and they are the reason people continue to search through old coins. If you have a coin like this, the best thing you can do is take a closer look. Do not clean it, because cleaning can damage the surface and reduce its value. Instead, keep it safe and examine it under good light. Look for anything unusual, such as doubling, strange marks, or odd shapes. When it comes to selling, always try to learn about your coin first. You can compare it with known examples or show it to a coin dealer or expert. Some coins that look completely ordinary at first turn out to be valuable once they are properly checked. In the end, the 1972 Washington quarter is a great example of how something simple can still hold interest and potential. Even in heavily circulated and poor condition, it carries history, design, and the possibility of hidden value. It reminds us that coins are not just money. They are small pieces of the past that continue to move through time. Next up, imagine picking up a 1974 Washington quarter with no mint mark, the kind that looks dull, a bit grimy, and clearly worn from years of use. Instead of starting with what it looks like, think about where it has been. This coin may have passed through hundreds of hands, used to buy groceries, pay for bus rides, or sit quietly in someone's pocket for years. It is not just a coin, it is a small traveler from the past, and every mark on it tells part of that journey. By 1974, the Washington quarter was already a familiar part of daily life in the United States. The design had not changed much since it first appeared in 1932 to honor George Washington. But what had changed was the metal. Since 1965, these coins were no longer made with silver. Instead, they were struck using a copper-nickel mix, which made them stronger but less valuable in metal. That means the real interest today comes from condition, details, and rare mistakes. Because this coin has no mint mark, it came from the Philadelphia Mint. At that time, Philadelphia coins often did not carry a mint mark, so this blank space actually tells us something important. It helps collectors place the coin's origin, and sometimes, coins from different mints show small but important differences. Now, instead of looking at the coin as a whole, focus on the small details. On the front, George Washington's face is still there, but the years have taken their toll. His hair looks flatter, the fine lines are mostly gone, and the surface feels smooth in places where it was once sharp. The words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" are still present, but they may look a bit faded or uneven because of wear. The date 1974 is still readable, and that alone keeps the coin easy to identify. Flip it over, and the eagle design comes into view. Even in dirty condition, you can still make out the strong shape of the bird with its wings spread. But if you look closely, the feathers are no longer sharp. They have been worn down by time and use. The words around the edge are still there, and that is what matters most. Even a worn coin keeps its identity through these key details. The surface tells its own story. There are small scratches, tiny marks, and areas where the coin looks darker than the rest. This dirty look often comes from years of contact with other coins, hands, and the environment. It may not look pretty, but it is completely natural. In fact, this kind of wear proves the coin has lived a full life in circulation. Now here is where the story takes an interesting turn. Coins like this were made in huge numbers, but not all of them came out perfect. During production, small errors sometimes happened. You might find slight doubling in the letters, where they look thicker or shadowed. Some coins were struck off-center, making the design look shifted. Others may show thin raised lines, known as die cracks, caused by worn tools at the mint. These small differences can change everything. A coin that looks ordinary at first can suddenly become something collectors want, simply because of one unusual detail. That is why even a dirty, worn coin deserves a second look. Collectors do not just chase shiny coins. Many of them enjoy coins like this because they show real history. A heavily used coin has character. It tells a story of movement, use, and time. But of course, condition still matters. A coin with more detail and less wear will always be more valuable than one that is heavily worn. Most 1974 quarters in this condition are only worth a small amount above face value. But when you move into better condition, like uncirculated coins that still have sharp detail, the value can rise. And when rare errors are involved, things can become surprising. Some rare examples with strong minting mistakes and excellent condition have reached values in the thousands, and in extreme cases with very unusual features, coins from this era have even pushed into the high five-figure and beyond range at major auctions. If you ever think you have a coin worth more than its face value, the worst thing you can do is clean it. Cleaning can remove the natural surface and lower its value quickly. Instead, keep it safe and let an expert take a look. You can show it to a coin dealer, send it for grading, or list it online where collectors are always searching. Good photos and honest details can make a big difference. What makes this 1974 quarter special is not how it looks today, but what it has been through. It has been part of daily life, quietly moving from place to place, carrying value in the simplest way. So the next time you see a worn, dirty quarter like this, do not ignore it. Hold it for a moment, look closely, and think about its journey. Because sometimes, the coins that look the least important are the ones with the most interesting stories, and once in a while, they carry a hidden surprise too. Next up, the 1980 Washington $quarter coin with AD mint mark in bad, heavily circulated condition, and this is one of those coins that almost everyone would overlook without a second thought, yet it carries a story that can completely change the way you see even the most worn and ordinary pieces of change. At first glance, this coin looks tired and used, the kind of quarter you might not even bother picking up off the ground, but hidden within that worn surface could be details that make all the difference. Imagine going through a pile of old coins that have been sitting untouched for years, maybe in a jar, a drawer, or even an old box tucked away in your home. As you move through the coins, you come across a quarter that feels different, not because it shines or stands out, but because it looks older, more worn, almost forgotten. You turn it over and notice the date, 1980, and right beside it, a small D mint mark, showing it was made at the Denver Mint. Most people would stop right there and assume it's worth only 25 cents, but that assumption is exactly where many valuable discoveries are missed. A coin in bad condition tells a long story of use, and this 1980 D quarter is no exception. On the front, George Washington's portrait has lost much of its original detail, with the hair appearing flat and smooth, and the high points of the face, especially the cheek and jawline, worn down from years of handling. The word liberty may appear faint in places, and in God we trust might not be as sharp as it once was. The surface is likely covered with scratches, small dents, and marks from constant contact with other coins, along with a dull tone that has replaced any original shine. Turning the coin over reveals the eagle on the reverse, which once had bold and detailed feathers but now appears soft and blended, with many of the finer lines worn away. The wings lack their original sharpness, and the overall design looks flattened from years of circulation. The rim may show signs of wear as well, with small dings or uneven edges, yet despite all this, the coin still holds its identity, and more importantly, it still holds potential. In the world of coin collecting, condition is important, but it is not the only factor that determines value. What truly matters is whether a coin has something unusual, something rare, or something that sets it apart from the millions of others produced in the same year. The 1980 D quarter was minted in large numbers, which is why most of them are considered common, but within those large numbers, there are always exceptions, and those exceptions are what collectors are constantly searching for. One of the most exciting possibilities, even on a heavily worn coin, is the presence of a double die error. This occurs when the design is struck more than once in slightly different positions, creating a visible doubling effect on the letters or numbers. Even in bad condition, a strong example of doubling can still be seen, especially in the date or the words on the front of the coin. When this type of error is clear enough to identify, it can attract serious attention from collectors and increase the coin's value far beyond what most people would expect. Another feature that can turn a worn coin into something special is an off-center strike, where the design is not properly aligned during the minting process. This results in part of the coin being blank, creating a look that is immediately noticeable. Even with heavy wear, an off-center coin stands out, and if the date is still visible, it becomes even more desirable to collectors who are willing to pay a premium for such unique pieces. Clipped planchets are another type of error that can appear even in coins that have seen years of circulation. This happens when a portion of the metal blank is missing before the coin is struck, resulting in a coin with an unusual shape. Despite the wear and scratches, the missing section is easy to identify, and this kind of error often sparks curiosity and interest among collectors. There is also the possibility of a broad strike error, where the coin was struck without the proper collar, causing it to spread out more than normal. This gives the coin a slightly larger and flatter appearance, with edges that do not look quite right. Even in poor condition, this difference can be noticed, and it adds another layer of uniqueness to the coin. As you begin to understand these possibilities, the way you look at a worn coin starts to change. Instead of seeing damage or loss of value, you begin to see potential, the chance that something unusual might be hidden beneath the surface. This shift in perspective is what makes coin collecting so exciting, because it turns something ordinary into something worth exploring. There have been cases where coins in less than perfect condition have still managed to capture the attention of collectors because of the features they carry. A strong error, even on a worn coin, can push values into the hundreds or thousands of dollars, and in rare situations where the error is dramatic or unique, the value can climb even higher, reaching levels that most people would never associate with a simple quarter. What makes this even more fascinating is the fact that many of these coins are still out there, hidden in plain sight, mixed in with everyday change, or sitting in collections that have not been examined closely in years. The reason they remain undiscovered is simple, because most people are not looking for them. They see the wear, the scratches, the dull surface, and they assume there is nothing of value, but that assumption is exactly what allows these coins to go unnoticed. Taking the time to examine a coin closely can make all the difference. Looking at the details, checking for anything unusual, and comparing it with what a normal coin should look like can reveal features that are easy to miss at first glance. This process does not require special tools or advanced knowledge, just patience and curiosity. For many people, especially those who have saved coins over the years, this becomes more than just a simple check. It becomes a moment of discovery, a chance to see something familiar in a new way. The idea that a worn, heavily circulated quarter could hold a hidden surprise is what keeps collectors interested and engaged. The 1980 Washington quarter may not seem special at first, and in many cases, it may not carry significant value, but the possibility that it could be something more is what makes it worth a closer look. That possibility is what turns an ordinary coin into an opportunity, and that opportunity is what makes the search so rewarding. So the next time you come across a worn 1980 quarter with a D mint mark, take a moment before you set it aside. Look at it carefully, notice the details that remain, and consider the chance that it might be more than it appears. Because sometimes, the coins that look the least valuable are the ones that hold the greatest surprises, and all it takes is a closer look to uncover them. Next up, picture a 1984 Washington quarter dollar with a small P mint mark, a coin that has clearly been through years of everyday use. It may not shine, it may not look special, and at first glance it might seem like just another old quarter. But if you slow down and really look at it, this coin begins to tell a deeper story, one that connects history, design, and even the possibility of hidden value. By 1984, the Washington quarter had already become one of the most recognized coins in the United States. The design, first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington, had stayed almost the same for decades. What makes this coin slightly different is the P mint mark. Before 1980, coins from the Philadelphia Mint did not carry a mint mark, but by 1984 that had changed. So this small P on the front of the coin tells you exactly where it was made, and for collectors, that detail always matters. Now take a closer look at the front of the coin. You will see the familiar portrait of George Washington facing left. On a heavily circulated coin like this, most of the fine detail is worn down. His hair looks smooth, the cheek area is flat, and the sharp lines that once stood out are now softened by time. The word liberty and the phrase "In God We Trust" are still visible, but they may look thinner or slightly faded. The date 1984 is still clear enough to read, and just below or near the design, you can spot that small P mint mark. When you turn the coin over, the eagle design appears, wings spread wide, holding arrows and an olive branch. This design stands for strength and peace. But in this condition, the eagle has lost much of its fine detail. The feathers are worn, and the lines are not as sharp as they once were. Even so, the overall shape of the eagle is still clear, and the words United States of America and quarter dollar can still be read without much trouble. Now let's talk about the condition, because this coin clearly shows heavy circulation. Over the years, it has picked up scratches, small dents, and marks across the surface. These are called contact marks and are very common. They happen when coins rub against each other in pockets, jars, or machines. The surface may also look dull and uneven, with darker areas caused by dirt, oil, and natural aging. This dirty look may not seem attractive, but it tells you the coin has been used in real life. It has passed through many hands and has been part of daily transactions. Even though the condition is not perfect, the fact that the main design and lettering are still visible means the coin still has value as a collectible item. Now here is where things can become more interesting. Even though millions of these coins were made, some 1984 quarters have minting errors. You might find slight doubling in the letters or numbers, where they look a bit thicker or shadowed. Some coins may be struck off center, where the design is not perfectly aligned. Others may show die cracks, which appear as thin raised lines on the surface. These small details are easy to miss, especially on a heavily worn coin, but they can make a big difference. A coin that looks ordinary could suddenly become valuable if it has one of these rare features. That is why collectors often take a closer look, even at coins that seem worn out. The P mint mark also adds to the story. Since Philadelphia started using mint marks later than other mints, coins like this help mark that change in history. Collectors sometimes compare coins from different mints to find small differences, and those differences can increase interest. Most 1984 quarters in heavily circulated condition are still worth close to their face value. However, coins with better detail or clear minting errors can sell for much more. In some cases, collectors have paid over $73,000 for a 1984 P quarter with strong error features or unusual details. If you think you might have a coin worth more than 25 cents, it is important to take care of it. Do not clean it, because cleaning can damage the surface and reduce its value. Keep it in a safe place and consider showing it to a coin expert or sending it for grading. When it comes time to sell, you can use coin dealers, auctions, or online marketplaces where collectors are always searching. Clear photos and honest descriptions can help you get better results. What makes this coin special is not just the chance of value, but the life it has lived. It has been used, worn down, and passed from one person to another over many years. It is a small piece of everyday history. So the next time you see a 1984 Washington quarter with a P mint mark, even if it looks heavily worn, take a closer look. Because sometimes, the coins that seem the most ordinary can still carry a story, and every now and then, they can carry a hidden surprise too.